Hi, my name is Beth Hiley, here for Board Game Geek at Origins 2017. I'm sitting down with Randall Bills from Catalyst Games Labs, and you've brought us Dragonfire.
Yep.
We're just saying we're minus the box at the moment.
We're minus the box.
There is a website in which people could look up the image of the box.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dragonfirethegame.com went live about a month and a half ago now. I can't believe it. And I'm posting dev blogs up there weekly talking about all the design decisions, both graphically and game-wise, and showing sneak peeks at all the cards and lots of great info. If any of this looks interesting, that's definitely the place to go and get more info.
Why don't you give us a quick overview on what are we trying to accomplish?
Okay, so, it's Dungeons and Dragons, and so you're out there to slay the monsters and get the gold and then get the treasure. So it's a deck building game. It's actually based upon the engine that was first published in our Shadowrun Crossfire deck builder game. So you might, those who played that before might look at the mechanics and see a lot of similarities. But basically, like any deck builder, you're going to start with a bare number of cards in your hand. And then as you face encounters and you defeat them, you're then going to be getting gold, and you're going to translate that gold into buying better cards as you go through the game. So we would roll our monsters up, and you're gonna have a card here, a number of different adventures.
The classic dungeon crawl.
The classic dungeon crawl. There will actually be quite a few. There's a bodyguard one where you got to get the noble from point A to point B.
Well, I was going to say, let's give them a little bit of flavor. The townsfolk are terrified. The monstrous inhabitants of a nearby dungeon continually raid the surface, burning fields, disrupting trade, and taking captives. They need adventurers willing to brave the depths.
Okay, and so then you go in the depths. So this is going to tell you everything you need to know about the specifics of how you set up. In this instance, we're going to be going through 3 scenes of play. In the first scene, you roll up a number of encounters equal to the number of players at the table. So we would simply be rolling these up, okay? And the first card that's rolled up, you're going to match the color of it to the color of the screen at the table.
So
each of the screens have different colors, okay? These are their class types. So we have deception characters, in this instance a rogue. We have martial, in this instance a fighter. Devotion and a cleric, and then arcane and a wizard, okay? So you match the first color up. So the Grail is going to come over and face off against this, and then you're just going to rotate the rest clockwise. Just happen to hit him first, and then we're going to rotate these around, okay? Now, there's a couple of things. Some of these have a surprise effect, which means as soon as it comes up, you have to deal with it. In this instance, we have a swarm of zombies, so you'd grab 2 additional tokens, and it's going to tell you right on the card. You don't just face one swarm, because of course it's zombies. You're going to come at it with quite a few tokens you got to deal with. And then you would keep going with the last of it. The trusty tool, okay? So once this is all done, you're then going to be taking your turn. But before you start that, you have what I think is one of the best aspects of Dragonfire, which is this deck right here. This is the Dragonfire deck, and it's effectively the GM throwing crap at you, trying to ruin your day, okay? So once everything's ready to go, you're then going to roll up the first card, and Cursed Treasure. A few coins must have fallen from a pocket, or through a hole in the bottom of someone's pack. Maybe a pouch was forgotten at the last campsite. That's all it must be. Gold pieces don't fly away of their own volition, right? Okay, so then it has a little symbol, which is basically the dead drop symbol, which is when this card is placed in the discard, each character loses 2 gold.
There's the thematic tie-in.
Exactly. So what's going to happen here is we're going to take 1 turn around the table, with each player taking a turn. And once that's done, if there are still encounters out, then this is taken off the top and placed in the discard, and this effect happens. Okay? So once that's up and going, so now we know, if we don't finish them, then that's going to kick off. Now, the odds of us finishing this in 1 round are pretty rare. So instead, you're going to think to yourself, I just got to spend gold. Instead of maybe saving up for some of the higher cost, for example, 8 cost as opposed to 2 or 3, go ahead and spend your gold, because you're likely just going to lose it, okay? So on my turn then, everyone's going to have a basic starting cards here. Now, the nice thing about our character screen here is every screen tells us exactly what we need to know to start out. So you have the number of cards you're going to be drawing into your hand at the start of the game. you have the number of gold, so 2. You have the hit points, 10. And the last is your equipment pack, which are these icons right here. And those icons correspond, let me organize them here to make it easy to see, correspond to the basic cards. So all you have to know is look at those icons, grab those basic cards, you've got your equipment pack, and that turns into your starting draw hand. So then I'd shuffle those bad boys up. And then for my fighter half orc, I know I would draw 4.
Because it says so.
Because it says so. Then I'm going to pull it up. And in this, well, helps if I actually draw 4 though, huh? So in this instance, wow, I happen to get 1 of every single color. Now I might have gotten all black because I'm the martial character, so it might have been 4 martial cards. But in this instance, it's that.
Here, I'm going to remove our little marketplace.
Let's get that out so we can see a little better. Sure. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to look at the characters. So this is very much cooperative deck building. You have to do it together. You're going to lose together. So I can't just look at my guy and go, holy crap, he has this giant damage track. He's doing 2 points of damage against me. I'm just going to throw everything I have at. Particularly when, as the fighter, I have 10 hit points as opposed to the poor mage, although that's actually wrong. She's going to start out with 6. Okay. And she has a pretty scary Chul. Right there. Same thing, doing 2 points of damage as well. Okay? What? It doesn't just auto-rotate around so they can read it backwards? Man. Okay, so then you have to decide, am I going to go ahead and let the troll hit me or should I go elsewhere? Okay? Let's just go ahead and say that I went after the troll. Okay, so in this instance, any type of damage coloring of the class types can be applied into the colorless damage. However, if I had only had 2 cards, then I couldn't actually do anything because that doesn't carry from turn to turn. I must be able to destroy an entire level of the damage track. So in this instance, I would do the 3 there. My black, however, is the only damage type that can take care of that one. So I would go ahead and be able to take this whole thing down like this. Okay?
So that's your little time marker.
So that's the time marker of our little dagger and sword.
I was just going to say, I hope people can see on camera that is a little dagger.
It is a little dagger going, gonna get that guy. Okay? So then my turn would be done. I would discard my cards if I have 3 or actually, he then gets to strike me.
Which he would
whack,
for 2.
like that, okay? And some of the cards don't have any abilities. They just hit you and, you know, they're pretty boring monsters. Others, like the troll, it says, if troll is damaged in a turn, it must save. Success, heal 1 level. So this gets into one of those new things that we introduced into the engine of Crossfire, which is the save, because saves and skill checks are about as quintessential D&D as you can imagine, right? So the way you do a save is that you're simply going to reveal the top card of the encounter deck corresponding to the troll, okay? And if it matches the color,
which it did,
which it actually did, it saves. Okay, so in this instance, ouch, he healed back up. If it had been another color, he wouldn't have. And then either way, you're just going to bury that deck. Okay, so after he hits me, then if I have 3 or fewer cards, I would then replenish 2 cards, and then I could buy from the market. So then we can
had moved out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can rotate these back out. Like this, okay. Now, you usually want to buy in your color. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Usually your cards, the synergy between colors are stronger in the abilities. Also, the save that you just saw, there is a skill check that characters do that's the exact same thing. I'm going to roll up a card, and if it matches my color, I'm going to put it down, okay? The more I buy in my color, the more proficient I am at skill checks. The less I buy, the more odds that I will fail, because then that's more off colors. But there are times, for example, Bless is an awesome card. So it does a devotion, and you might think to yourself, well, maybe only the cleric should be buying that, except, so on my turn, I can only play my own cards. You guys don't get to play, except, we'll center this a little better, if there's a line here and it says assist, that means another player can play it on the active player's turn to help them out. So in this instance, it's deal 1 damage of any color. So remember how we had these colors here. And let's say it's the rogue's turn and he's going, and he can certainly handle the 3 and the 2, but he has no reds in his hand, which first of all means he's the worst rogue ever. And second, I could then come out here and go, no worries, I got you. I'm going to make that a red, and suddenly we'd be able to track all the way down to there. Okay? So
Now,
there's some great interaction between the various players, again, that cooperative style.
to pull your player aid back up, I mean, there is definitely a customization piece to this.
Absolutely.
That you get to name, you could write in different ideas, but I'm wondering sort of here that we have different sticker slots.
Okay, so what that's going to be, well, first of all, let's show, if we can, that the equipment packs, yeah, get that in there.
Yep.
Just to show that the equipment packs can be significantly different, not just the fact that obviously you're concentrated within your type, your class type, but then even like among the dwarfs, if I was a dwarf cleric and then you looked at, say, a dwarf rogue, these up here, as well as your starting stats, are going to be significantly different. Even 1 or 2 value changes in here, because of the design space, really changes up the flavor of the game. Which means that there are, we figured, some 700 character screens that we could put out there. Please keep buying them, we'll make them. So that, if you want to play that Forest Gnome Druid, which by the way is a super awesome one to play, you can play that. And it actually means something a little bit different, okay? And then some of these have no racial abilities. Some of them, in fact, do have some racial abilities. Relentless Endurance, when stunned, do not discard a hand. Okay? Now, you were talking about these background slots. So the game, you can play this as a one-off game, wonderfully fun, you're done. However, it's really designed as campaign play.
Which, again, ties it back into D&D.
Absolutely, okay? So on each scene that you enter, you're going to get a number of experience points based upon what the adventure you're playing tells you. So even if it's 3 scenes and you get your head handed to you in the 3rd scene and you fail it, you still went into 3 scenes, so you get those 3 experience points. You just wouldn't get the bonus experience points for completing the whole thing. You then translate that experience into stickers, and those stickers increase the quality of what you can do with the board. It mixes up the cards you have, adds additional damages, gives you cool tricks.
Yeah, so would you say that's sort of the equivalent of leveling up?
Absolutely.
As you continue
That's exactly
on?
what it is. Okay? And even better, the stickers then allow you to delve into the subclasses. For example, the fighter has quite a few generic types, and then there is a Eldritch Knight sticker as well as a champion sticker. And you place that on, and suddenly there's sub-stickers that you can only use if you have that one to really delve down into that type of subclass. So we've really taken that flavor of D&D and tried to fold that back up into the game.
Well, let's talk a few logistics as we're wrapping things up here.
Okay.
When is this available?
This is going to be available at Gen Con, and then probably September on store shelves. Don't hold me to that, please.
And then, as you mentioned, the maximum is 4 players.
Actually, it's not. It's up to 6 players.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it goes
even
from
better.
it goes from 2 up to 6 players.
And then you had mentioned, too, that you guys are going to keep releasing lots more of the boards so people can get...
Absolutely, and lots of expansions. 2 nights ago, we were up till, because it's Origins, we're up till 3 o'clock in the morning playtesting the base game, along with elements of like 5 different expansions that we have.
All right, so there's a lot of meat to this coming
Lots of meat coming out.
All right.
Lots of adventuring.
Well, Randall, I'm really excited you allowed us to take a look, and if you guys want to also check this out, this is Dragonfire, which is going to be released by Catalyst Game Labs, and thank you again.
Thank you.